punch it.
Kevin, you guys at Atomic Fiction recently worked on Star Trek Into Darkness. Can you tell me the scenes that you guys worked in? I've seen it several times, so I can get right in there with you. What exactly did you guys do?
Well, we were super proud to have worked on 5 or 6 scenes for Star Trek Into Darkness. Our favorite one was the interior of the Starship Enterprise as it's rolling on its side, going completely out of control as it's plummeting into the Earth's atmosphere. For that scene, we had to create an entirely digital interior of the engine room of the Starship Enterprise, which was sort of modeled after a Budweiser factory that's here in Southern California, but we had to expand it and make it much, much vaster. We worked on a scene where we had to create these seatbelts, these little clickety-clack seatbelts that would automatically come on and off, which is a really great design challenge. We also worked on a scene where they're going down to the surface of a planet and trying to figure out what the heck this torpedo is that they've been loaded with on their ship. So again, we have to design what that entire world looked like and execute it.
Outside of Star Trek, other films you've worked on, you recently worked on Flight, correct?
We were really fortunate to do all of the visual effects for Flight. We had about 400 visual effects shots in the movie. When we tell people that there are 400 visual effects shots in Flight, they're like, what? I thought there were like 10. But there's also shots where, for example, we're at an airport that just looks like a rainy, stormy day when Denzel is doing his pre-flight check, but you can't shoot at airports now. So we had to create that entire airport in the rainstorm digitally from scratch. That's some of our favorite kinds of visual effects to do, is the kinds that are there, but the audience would never be able to tell. You kind of trick the audience. It's a bit of a magic show.
Good morning, Captain Whitaker.
Your title on Sin City is one that intrigues me. You are the look supervising consultant?
Look development supervisor on Sin City.
What is the look development supervisor? What is that like?
Well, look development is the process of taking all of the things that we have to build digitally for the movie and making sure that cars look like cars and they have subtle dents in them and that the sidewalls have scuffs on them, and just making sure that the world is texturally something that feels right. And for Sin City, that was a particularly interesting challenge because it's not supposed to feel real. It's supposed to feel artistic, kind of comic book-like, like the Frank Miller novels. And it was a really creatively satisfying project because it's totally outside the box. It was a lot of fun.
You and your partner have basically crossed lines and worked with both Star Wars and Star Trek. Someone else who is doing that right now, you may have heard of him, J.J. Abrams. What would you tell him about the visual effects aspect, the look of those worlds?
Well, I mean, I couldn't be more excited that JJ's doing the Star Trek movies and the Star Wars movies, because I think that with Star Trek, he really showed that he had both a vision for how to make it different and even better in a lot of regards, while still maintaining respect for the originals. And I think that's exactly what the Star Wars movies need, is honoring the legacy of those movies and what all of us grew up loving about them, but also recognizing current day culture needs in our little ADD society that we have, coming up with the best fusion of those two things. And I'm just so excited to see what he's going to do with it, and I hope we get to work on it too.
Did we just leave this party?